Ooh, this is a subliminal message. Please subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. It's called Meet the Entertainers on The Big Ben Show. Or follow this podcast on podomatic.com. It's called Meet the Entertainers on The Big Ben Show. This is the end of the subliminal message. Ooh. Hello, it's I, Big Ben, and whoa, what is going on? I'm still so busy. This is supposed to be the quiet time. It's January, but I'm still busy, and I haven't managed to put out a podcast for almost, quite a few weeks, and I've still got loads sitting in the back of my computer. Well, here is the second half of my talk with the amazing Mr. Max Marshall. I'm not going to put much time into putting this up online, so very quickly, Max Marshall, he's the guy entertaining everybody at Hong Kong Disneyland, out roving around, doing shows. And he's an amazing clown, an amazing entertainer. We've got loads of stuff here. How to swallow a balloon. Talking about Dr. Patch Adams, the famous physician, comedian, clown, who's bringing laughter and clowning into hospitals. We talk about music. How you can use Spotify to find some decent music for your shows. And computer games also, having epic music for magic acts. Anyway, this is Max Marshall. Enjoy. Take care. Goodbye. And now let's go back to your life.
Just ask. You ask questions. I'll answer them because it's not about me talking. Look. I'm not the one to say I love talking about me.
No, I love.
What I'm fascinated by doing this podcast is to reach out to anybody who's listening, to encourage them, and if there's anything I can do to help along. And I'll tell you why. Because when I was learning, when I was growing up and doing all this, again, old school, no internet, all of that business, finding out for the self, I was calling older magicians, saying, "How do I get to where you are?"
Right.
Apart from just getting older. Well, they went, well, the answer to that is, get older.
Yes.
That was the answer. Grow up and learn life, learn people, just get curious of everything and see how you can use it within your entertainment and your performance. And I never believed it. And then, reasonably recently, a kid came to me and said, "How do I get to where you are?" And I was like, well, actually, you need to sort of get more life experience and grow older and learn all this thing. And then I went, yeah, that is true. However, you're living in a day and age where you can go onto the internet and you can find things.
Yeah.
You can get those resources. The magic market in particular is just huge now. It's absolutely huge. You can get all sorts of things. It's very unfortunate that last week I did the balloon swallow for an adult audience. The modern balloon, we swallowed the illusion is that we swallow the balloon.
Okay, let's talk about our specific stuff. How do you do with your balloon swallow?
How do I do?
I'll tell you how I do mine. See if it's the same. For my balloon swallow, I get my uninflated balloon and I push. Oh, here it is. I push this paper clip twice through the tip of the balloon, 2 times, and then when I do it, I inflate the balloon. And the air will escape from those little holes without popping the balloon. It's just the right amount, and that's how I do.
You do it at the nozzle end or the?
So I've got the knot. I put the 2 little holes through the tip, and then the knot goes in my mouth
first.
Yeah, so the knot's in my mouth, and the air's escaping through the top of the balloon. So I do it. My friend John in Singapore, very talented. He blows it up. And he can just bite it with his teeth on the knot.
That's impressive.
And then he can swallow it. So it's all. He doesn't need to prepare it in advance. How do you do yours? Our specific stuff.
How do I do mine? I was taught by a great magician called Fielding West, who has who taught me something. Okay, I'll share it because it's not.
I don't know. I mean, if there's a secret, don't tell me.
No. It's nice. So yeah. Anyway, how we got into balloon swallows because I said I did the balloon swallow and a friend of mine came to me the following day and went, "I know how you did it. I looked it up on YouTube," and I'm going, "Oh, I hate you," and I hate YouTube for that reason. You know that sort of thing. But at the same time, you can learn stuff anyway. It's fickle. Anyway, for me, I make one hole near the nozzle. It's about 1.5 inches down.
Yeah.
I only do one hole, and the reason being is once you've pre-stretched the balloon from where the hole is down to the end of the balloon, you pre-stretch it, then I actually blow it up from there,
Yeah.
and then I let it go again.
Right.
So now it's ready.
Right.
And I always prepare 3 for each show.
Right.
In case it pops, because if you attempt it and it does actually burst, well then you're going to need another one. You're going to prepare it. No, so it's just to have it. And then at least one of the times you might get it right. If the third time you get it wrong, then you've failed.
It's very rare that it'll go wrong 3 times.
Yeah.
I did the same rule for my giant balloon. You know, the popular like where you clamp down the giant balloon.
Right.
I always have 3 balloons.
Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I've heard.
That's something I've never done.
Oh, there you go.
I've done a lot of things, and I've tried a lot of things, and I've never done the man in balloon. There you go.
Yeah, well.
But anyway, yeah. So I make the hole. I pre-stretch it. I pre-blow it up. I let it loose.
So you make
and
the hole.
Now it's sat.
Pre-stretch the balloon. Then you blow it up.
And then so now.
How do you pre-stretch? You mean just stretch?
Yeah, just stretch it out
uninflated.
Uninflated, yeah, and then actually blow it up.
Do you blow all the way to the end?
Yes, all the way to the very end.
Right. So the air is escaping immediately.
No, because the hole is at the nozzle end.
Oh.
And you've only blown it up from the hole onwards.
Oh.
So you're protecting it because
I'm thinking, yeah.
Because
so the tip and the nozzle. I was thinking, yeah. Okay.
As soon as any pressure, the latex stretches around that hole, that's when it's going to burst.
Right.
So you're stretching, you're avoiding the hole basically.
Yes.
Tie the knot, and the knot needs to be rolled all the way to the very, very end.
Okay.
Of where that rolled nozzle is.
Right. Okay.
Cool. So now you're left with a balloon. You can hold that balloon. You can hold that balloon all day.
Oh, lovely.
The air is not escaping yet.
Right.
The air is only going to escape once you put the end of the balloon in your mouth and you push up with your tongue.
Oh, lovely.
So then it pushes up. So you can say, okay, I'm going to do this, and and you can explain something. You can have somebody hold it. You can do a routine. I used to do one where I'd have a couple of people two people that were up on the stage for an up and coming routine. One would I'd blow up the balloon. I'd hold it. Have the audience hold the balloon. I'd just hold it up. One person would get a pair of pliers, and I'd say, look, I'm going to swallow this thing. If I hit you in the arm like this, I want you to reach down my throat and pull it out with these pliers. And for you, madam, and I bring out a rubber glove, and I put the rubber glove on. And if it gets stuck at the other end, well, you know what to do. So it creates fun and laughter. And they're ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Okay, now we can have the balloon. So the balloon's now been inflated for a good 2 minutes.
Oh, great!
And has not even So now we start to do it. Now the thing is with having one hole, what you can do is you can bring it down. The air is going to start to escape very slowly, and then you can take your hands away.
Oh.
So the balloon stays there.
Yeah.
Because I've watched people do balloon swallow before, where the hole is too much, and they just take the balloon and it just goes down in a oneer, and it's gone.
That's me.
It's okay. It's okay. But what I'm saying is, it's not that there's any right or wrong, but I think it's stronger that if you have it and then you can take your hands away, turn around.
The balloon sword swallow isn't a big part of my act. That's why I haven't done much research. I just do. It's just a little extra thing I sometimes do. Okay, I'm really good at other stuff. Okay.
It is a great piece. So the great thing is you can do this, and as you put your tongue in, you're folding it down, and you end up with a tiny little package at the end of it.
Yeah.
Is that how you end up with that?
I end up with the uninflated. My ears coming out of the top. And so I just end up with the balloon, an uninflated balloon. Basically, I end up with. And I just tuck it under my tongue and my cheek and.
If you do it with your tongue, and you just keep pushing the tongue, you're forcing it, and you end up with a ball this size.
Wow.
It's a ball of about half an inch.
Right.
And the great thing was this. Yeah, it can go in a cheek or under the tongue.
But you've got a ball. You've got a ball balloon.
Tiny little ball.
Yeah.
And for me, I actually put both my hands in my mouth, and I hook the ball into my cheek, and show my face completely empty.
Yes.
And then, of course, as I bring my hands away, I reach into my pocket and take my handkerchief and just dab, and then I can dump it. You've got to have a reason for going into your pocket.
Balloon away. Yes.
Now here's the great part.
This is great.
That a lot of people don't do.
Okay.
It is out there. It's not new. But if you go to, I can highly recommend actually Fielding West. Has a DVD that features the balloon swallow. Great Vegas magician. He's a great guy, older guy. He's been and done. He's not done yet. Sorry, he's been there and done that sort of thing, and he's still going. Great act.
Brilliant.
But at the effect is, as at the end of the show, oh, you have a bit of a something going on in your stomach and your throat or whatever.
Yeah.
And you produce the balloon out of your mouth again, fully inflated.
Wow, lovely.
Now this is achieved by a small canister of air.
Must be.
Okay,
No other way.
I won't give too much detail, but that's
a
the thing.
lovely.
But you gotta have the you gotta have the right setup. I can just highly recommend Fielding West.
That's what we know. Fielding West balloon swallow
reproduction of anyway. Yeah, so and I've performed it several times. It's a great way to end the show.
This is great. I've now fulfilled my specific tips quota for this podcast.
Oh, you have.
I love to get something really, really specific. And you know what? I mean, the balloon sword swallow is it's not something. I'm honestly true. I don't. It's not a major thing. I just occasionally will swallow a balloon.
Yeah.
It's not a big thing. I just put it in my mouth and it's gone, and that's it. And then I'm going to pull it out and say, "Who wants this balloon?"
Right.
We don't want it. It's in your mouth.
Sure.
But my friend John in John Heron in Singapore, he's really into the balloon sword swallow. And I remember him saying to me, he went on once after someone else who'd done the balloon sword swallow, and he was like, "Oh, let me show you how it's really done." And there obviously is. There is
there's different ways. There's different ways of doing it. There's the sort of putting it in your face. Like there's different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
There's not any better word. Again, it just.
But there are some really good ways of doing it.
For me, I do it and leave it as a mystery, and then there is other ways of just because the humans aren't that stupid. They're not as stupid as we think they are. However, they're muggles. That you can do the balloon swallow and just bring it out and go, haha, I fooled you, and you show them that you haven't really swallowed it.
Yeah.
However, I think you get a really big reaction if you do learn to do balloon swallow, in the sense that you end up with a small ball. You can show your mouth empty. Then people are really like,
or you can do
where has it gone? Like, where has the whole thing gone?
You can do some stuff. I think some people do where they end up with a small ball, and then they apparently take the small ball out of their mouth, but now it's like a ping pong ball or something. And
you could do as a transition piece, for sure.
Yeah.
But there is resources out there. There's people who've done DVDs, particulars on it and stuff.
Fielding West.
But reproducing that balloon at the end of the show, and you have to remember it has to be the same colour as the one that you put in your face.
Yes. Whoops.
This is very, very powerful stuff, and it's fun. There's more, again, just with exposure with internet, there is more and more people doing it. I've moved away from it kind of because of that. That comes.
Well, what we have to remember again is, although we've done these tricks time after time, year after year, hundreds of times, thousands of times, if you're doing a show for young kids, they wouldn't have seen any of it before.
No, that's very true.
Yeah, so you've always even people who are older, they may not have hardly ever seen the stuff that we do.
That's true. Yeah, we are exposed because we're looking on YouTube and we're seeing things, and our friends that we've befriended on Facebook.
And we think everybody else knows, but they don't necessarily.
No, they don't. They don't always. No. And I'm a big believer in the classics as well.
There's a reason they're classics, because they're so good.
Yeah, so it's just kind of how they're done.
Yeah.
A very favourite magician of mine, David Williamson. I was lucky enough to host him on a cruise ship. He came on as a fly-on act, and basically his entire 1 hour show was in his jacket. Just had different things. But
you ever tried to do a show where you don't take any props or apparently don't take any big props?
It's again that's another thing to remember that we rely a lot of times as entertainers, as children's entertainers, on props. And props are great. Props are brilliant. They look good, and kids relate to large objects and shapes and particular colours. If it fits in with your theme, depending on what size you're doing, how many shows you're doing each week can be a big thing. With it, obviously, with the working full-time entertainer, we want a reasonably packed small show, so that we can just pack up and go to the next gig.
Yes, if you're doing 3 shows on a Saturday, you need to be able to transport it.
I worked really, really hard, and have done for years, to work with less and less and less props.
Yeah, me too.
And this is why I'm moving now more towards clown.
Yeah.
Clown is very, very powerful, because the clown creates an imaginary environment on the stage. I'm not talking about a mime artist. I'm not talking. That's a different game. But the clown can create play, because really a great lesson is that it's not what you do, it's how you make the people
Absolutely.
feel. And
Over the last few
yeah,
years.
speaking of David Williams, is another one. He's doing 3 or 4 very classic routines, but in his own way, of course. I mean, the guy's a master magician. I love him to bits. And taught me a lot about the whole play situation, that you don't have to fill the stage with everything. I'm not saying that it's not right. There's a new show, the new show across in Macau is open.
There's so many ways to do things.
There's all sorts of things.
Good.
I'm not saying that it's wrong, but for me, I want to work with less props and less. Now I go on stage and I can walk out into the park with one bag.
Yeah.
And I can do a 20-minute show.
Yeah.
I did a show for a magic convention years ago. And I had 2 15-minute slots in the gala show. 2 15-minute slots in a gala show is a lot.
Yes.
Not 10 minutes or 5 minutes.
No.
But 2 15 minutes.
So you're going to be 15
and I was
minutes.
I was a light relief between card manipulators and illusionists.
Yeah.
And because they had the set up and whatnot. So I did the show, and we got called at the end of the show to pick up our props by the stage manager. And all the props I had was 1 suitcase and a broom. That's all I had.
That's what you had.
And the illusionist who was there with his lorry and his several boxes and his dancing girls and the guys that were helping him pack up and all of that business going, I thought you had like 2 15-minute show. What did you do? And I went, well, I entertained the audience. That's what I got asked to do.
Yeah.
And I felt like a bit of a prick when I sort of said, well, I entertained the audience. That's what they want, right? But I was actually genuine about it.
Yes.
Going, because I always wanted to be an illusionist.
Right.
And then when I seen how much hard work goes in, I said, well, for me, that's not what I want anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I love illusion.
Yeah.
But for working, I've moved away from it now. I did it last year. We had a show in Disneyland, and I was fortunate enough to have dancing girls and a few illusions and whatnot, and that was great. That fulfilled my childhood sort of thing. But I was by no means a self-made illusionist. Which
HKDL Party Zone Magic Show. Was that a big show?
Oh yeah, there's a video on that maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, it's the Max Marshall video on YouTube.
Yeah.
There's a few videos of some of the stuff that I've done. But this was another thing growing up before digital cameras and all sorts of things. I was just going to gigs and not really thinking, oh, should I share it on social media? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now we're doing stuff and I better get a picture of this because I need to show the world. So I think of all the gigs that I ever did going, why didn't I have somebody take a picture?
Yeah.
It's amazing. We're living in a totally different time now. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
But sorry, a lot of my answers that I'm giving you are very, very deep and very methodical.
Yeah.
I was going to say mythological. No,
mythological.
Yeah, possibly. Why not? But it's just because I have a
I wanted to jump in there as well because
understanding.
I know exactly what you're saying because 2 years ago I've been by nature I am someone who takes more and more stuff. By nature that is my nature. I take more and more props. But at the same time there's another side of me going, God, this is just too much to carry. You can't get down. If there's no lift, you can't really get to the show without making 3 journeys up and down 5 flights of stairs. So I have also gone. I have a show now called talking about play. My show is called the Playtime Show, and I do pretty much nothing, and I can entertain for an hour with pretty much nothing, just improvising. If there's some chairs, I'll do the act where you get 4 chairs and do the chair levitation where the people move chairs. I'll do things like that. I just improvising with whatever there's around. If there's a broom, I'll grab the broom and I'll balance it and on my nose, and I'll do things like that. And I'll have a few balloons in my pocket, a thumb tip and stuff, but nothing much. And I love it. I don't often get the booking because people say they want my big unicycle, they want my big balloon or something. But if someone says that we haven't got much of a budget,
sure.
I'll say, oh, I've got this show.
Perfect.
I've got this show, and I love doing it.
You've nailed it on the head right there. It's funny because we've not really talked much about money.
No,
we're talking about the driving forces of why we do what we do.
The love of it.
Money is
important.
Money is a factor in what we do, because if we can make a living from it, the more we can entertain.
Yeah.
And the better we can be with it, because we can buy ourselves time.
And you cannot survive in this world without being able to pay your rent and buy your food.
You've got to pay money, and I know some of the most spiritual people in the world that say that money doesn't matter, but these are the same people that are saying to me, "Oh, you're so lucky that you can go and do that, and you can go and do this." there and have this experience. I go, yeah, because it costs money. Yeah, money's a funny old game. But it's nice that it's not solely a driving force for what it is that we do.
Yeah.
We love what we do. You know, coming back to I was saying about working from the heart.
Yeah.
Is a big one, because if your focus is just money, then your heart's not going to be in it. It's not the same.
No.
They're not really connected that well. We can love money with our hearts, but in the sense of delivering a product that we're selling, whether we have a product image as ourselves, or whether we are just, you know, take gig here, just and creating as we go, and that's brilliant too, you know. A great teacher also of mine, maybe many people have heard of him, was Dr. Patch Adams.
Yes.
I had the
Robin Williams did the movie where
he made the movie. I was fortunate enough to
so
work.
let's just say quickly, Patch Adams. He, if I remember, I only got this from the movie. He was a doctor, and he felt that happiness and laughter was a very, very good medicine. Didn't he say that sometimes you can cure the patient with medicine, but if you make them happy, you're always...
If you treat a disease,
you can
win sometime, but if you treat the person,
that's the quote.
You win every time. That's not word for word.
But something like that.
It's like this.
And he brought laughter by clowning it into the hospitals.
But for those that are interested, we're talking about clown therapy.
Yeah.
Clown therapy being you don't have to be a trained clown. You just have to be a nice person who cares about other people and wants to make a difference in the world. And for me, I was recommended to join Patch Adams, and so I wrote to him and ended up working with him in Russia.
Right.
So Patch Adams is a guy. He's still around. He's making huge waves. His whole movement that he's created is amazing. He's created guys like myself who then leave working with him and then do workshops and create more clowns to inspire more people to do it. And so it's an epidemic. It's spreading. There's some of the best clowns in the world are the ones on the street, the happy people. If you can hold hands with somebody who's suffering and that just needs a friend, then you're a clown.
Yeah.
This is moving away from entertaining. This is a slightly different thing. But what I'm going to tell you is that having this experience and putting that on the stage is a beautiful transition, and that changed my life too.
Again, you're never going to fail if you're a happy person with positive energy. If you are the clown and you're on stage, no matter what goes wrong, it doesn't matter. The audience will be with you.
Yeah, exactly.
CD doesn't work.
It depends what your thing is. You know, like if you're hired to be a manipulator as a magician, and you're there to do your manipulation routine, whether it be cards, coins, CDs, I don't know what you're manipulating. It's different. It's a different type of performing. But you're saying that most of the people that are listening are entertainers.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, kids entertainers. Well, it's just a different game from like if you're solely a magician.
Yes.
If you are solely a juggler. But I know that there is a big group of people like us that are doing a little bit of everything and putting it all together and making a really nice show. I don't call myself a juggler. I juggle to entertain.
Yeah.
I can't juggle any more than 5 balls, but for me, I go, well, if I juggle 5 balls, people go, well, that's very good. But then I juggle 3 balls in a really funny way. I've now created happiness and laughter, and the play. You know, I'm not to say that when I talk about that, it makes it sound like saying, but yeah, if you juggle 9 balls, like, what's the point? No, I don't mean that. It's great. People can do what they want, you know.
Mesmerizing, incredible.
But so for me, I just want to entertain. But yeah, Patch taught me a lot, and I love to tell people about this because it's a big one. I turned up in Russia with 2 suitcases full of puppets and props and all sorts of stuff, and I'd heard about this great clown, Dr. Patch Adams, you know, and didn't really know too much about him. I just know that working with him was going to be beneficial for everyone, and it's going to be a great experience, and get the chance to be in Russia. He turned up and all he had was a rubber fish. And I goes, but what's he going to do with that? How is he possibly going to entertain people? Well, of course he did.
Yeah.
Because he plays around and he uses things in the room and he wears these beautiful trousers that he can hide inside, and there's these games, and he has a couple of small props in his pocket, very very small things just for fun, like funny buck teeth or stuff like this, but it was just and I go, why did I bring all of this crap,
Yeah.
I mean, as time went on, I ended up working in Russia and Romania, Ukraine, Hungary, and in Italy, doing this clown therapy work and working with organisations, mostly in the north of Italy and in Holland. With Stichting Kurica, which is a clown therapy group.
I'm not going to be able to write that down.
I have no idea how to spell it.
Stichting Kurica.
Stichting Kurica. Stichting is Dutch for healing, and Kurica is Russian for chicken.
If there's any Dutch listeners, you can email me and tell me how to spell that name.
Stichting Kurica, yeah. Well, if there is any Dutch listening, we're talking. It's like the Medi-Clowns. Everywhere around the world now, there's clown organisations doing amazing work in the hospitals, orphanages, old folks' homes, all sorts of stuff, just bringing a bit of love, fun, and happiness.
My friend Kenneth Ung does it.
Kenneth,
in Hong Kong.
So yeah, I've still yet to meet Kenneth. We were texting a few times saying, hey, we should meet up sometime. We still haven't done it. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we will.
That's it. We're always working at the same time. So we never.
Exactly.
That's another question. Let's think about some final questions. It's kind of like, how's your social life? It's hard because we're always working when everyone else is off. We work hardest Saturdays and Sundays.
Well,
you're at Disney, so you must work all
slightly different. So for me, yeah, I've had business doing the taking every gig that comes on the phone type of lifestyle where you're off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the week. Maybe to do some paperwork or whatnot, and then you're pretty antisocial after that. But
so that can be quite lonely.
It can be. You find a different way or something. But then for the last 7 years, I mean, working on the cruise ship, your job is playing with people.
Okay.
But these guests come in and then they're gone. But you live with your colleagues and you dine with your colleagues and you party with your colleagues after. So you're with people all the time.
That's why I always, whenever I get a chance to be in a group, I always go for it, even if the pay's not fantastic.
Yeah.
Like last year I did the AIA Carnival run by Kieran Love. And I'm doing it again this year. I love it. For 2 months, I'm in a big group of performers. All I'm doing is stilts, and it's not a highly prestigious. It's not me. I'm just doing a solo show on stage. I'm just a stilt walker going around having fun all day. But it's great to be part of a crowd. It's great to be part of a crowd.
Isn't it?
Love it.
So yeah, on the social front, it's interesting. So yeah, cruise ships is very very different.
Okay, quickly jump in with other questions then.
But the park is the same. I'm always with people.
Yeah.
And I live with my colleagues too.
Yeah, of course you do.
But on the social front, we don't work in the evenings. So we do have a social life too.
There you go. I'm bearing in mind that my kids will be coming home from school soon. They're going to be banging on the door and disturbing us. So let me sort of do some rounding up. These are called the randoms. I should have some. Oh, I tell you what. As you're so good at talking, could you just cover for me while I cue some music for the randoms?
I'm really curious about what the music's going to be.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
So yeah, I'm really excited to be here in Hong Kong. I'm here with Ben, and we are on what seems.
Oh, good job!
Oh, that was it. That was good.
There we go. I found some music. Hello and welcome. This is Meet the Entertainers on the Big Ben Show, and now I'm probably speaking too close to the microphone there. And now it's time for the random questions. Talking to Max Marshall, and here we go. Okay. Oh, how did you go from doing shows in Edinburgh and various places to getting a full-time work as at Disney? Did you just apply to them?
Yes and no. That was an interesting transition because that's a transition that's lasted about 10 years. So we could be here a long time talking about that. So yeah, that's that one. If anybody's interested, email me.
Okay, well that'll be another podcast. All right. Do you prefer to work solo or with assistants?
I like working solo, but one of the reasons for going to study next year is so that I can become part of a bigger show, Cirque du Soleil, Franco Dragone, etc., etc. A big dream of mine is to work is part of a big show, because I've been working solo since I was, well, since I've been doing this thing over 20
I
years.
interviewed Marcus Filtner, who's a really good devil stick artist, and he worked with Cirque du Soleil for a few years. Good guy. Close-up magic versus street magic versus stage. Do you have any favourites?
I don't have any favourites. I love to. I just love to see people's face. I just love to see the wow in the people's faces when you can when you tickle their insides with when you've changed their belief. You know, with these people, they say, "I hate magic," and say, well, "Let me show you something," and they go, "Wow,
yeah.
you don't hate magic. You're just fearful. You're weak. You don't want to be cheated."
You started learn as a juggler. So, but now you do lots of magic as well. When did that change come?
Again, I was doing shows and trying to understand what entertained people. I found out that magic worked really well for me, and I did a lot of magic.
Yeah.
And
Are
I
you
can say
self-taught?
yes, I'm a magician. Yeah, self-taught from
Brilliant.
books.
Yeah.
I avoided DVDs for the sole purpose of creativity, saying, well, how am I going to do it?
Right.
Because
Right.
DVDs is you're just copying, but yeah.
If you're doing your own show, not for Disney, how did you get your music?
This is a good question.
Yes.
Because people ask me, where do you get your music?
There you go.
And
Where did you get your music?
You've just asked me.
There
You
you
asked
go.
me again, because I like it. I love that question so much. I'm going to recommend to all entertainers, get on Spotify.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I have spent so many years, as many of you maybe have, going to conventions or watching other performers, and you hear the same songs being used, you know.
Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah, and Mission Impossibles, or it's ice dance for snowstorms and stuff. There's just, and you know, I recommend moving away from that, because then you're trying to make it your own show, because if not, then you're just copying. You know, so if you go on Spotify, I'm gonna give you a little bit of advice. There's more and more computer games out there.
Yes.
Believe it or not, there's composers, beautiful, like,
Of course.
they make amazing music for these new computer games,
Yes.
and they're epic pieces of music.
Yeah.
And they work really well for magic.
There you go.
Yes.
This is lovely.
So when you go on Spotify, you go to like the related artists and all of that business. I can't think of any off the top of my head.
No, this is it.
It's a big long
Specific
list.
tips, Robert.
And the chances of clashing music with somebody else as well, and especially if you're working in a cabaret performance and you've just turned up and there's another act on before you and they've just used that song.
I know.
Oh, there's nothing worse.
Yes.
You know, even if it is the same.
Oh, what do you do
same
if you're on stage? I love it. That's another fantastic specific tip. Boom. Spotify, I love it. That's why I do these podcasts.
And then, by the way, on the Spotify, what you do is you get the name of the artist and the name of the thing, and then you go to their website or iTunes and you buy it from them.
Right, from them, of course. Why not support them?
Absolutely. And then it's up to you, all your royalties and all that. But that's up to you how you're paying them.
Yes, that's a moral question for you to decide.
Mm-hmm.
And support artists.
Yes,
basically.
please do.
What do you do if someone does go on stage before you and is doing the same act as you?
It'll
happen
It hasn't
occasionally.
happened. It hasn't happened to me often. I have working on the cruise ship. We would have 2 to 3 fly-on acts per week. They would usually find out who they are, and I don't know if they're going to know their style and all of that business. But if you're good enough to be on cruise ships as a fly-on act, you've probably got quite a unique act anyway.
Yes.
So clashing is not so much. But in amateur settings or pro amateur settings and whatnot, there's a chance that you're going to clash. I've been there, but yeah, I've always found out who they are and find out ahead and say what routines are you doing. You know, I don't want to do a prediction effect or like do a book test because I'm doing a book test, you know, or whatever. You know, I don't want to do the you know, the casket that hangs up in the auditorium. You bring it down, and then the prediction is inside. You know, seeing that twice in 1 week, you just work. You know, so you know what I mean. So there's all of that. So
I'm happy enough because sometimes I'll turn up because I don't do cruise ships and Disney. But I might turn up at a family fun day or a carnival where they've hired a few acts, and I'll just turn up half an hour before my show, and there's someone on stage who's doing some of the same stuff as me, and there's no way I could have known in advance.
Of course.
So, but after doing it for 20 years, I'm happy enough just to improvise and change things on the spot.
It definitely comes with experience to say, okay, I'm going to move out of my script, and do something just a little bit different. We're going to play with something, and that's where you end up, and that's why I always say, try and record your shows. Recording your shows, watching yourself in movement is amazing. Teachers of mine said, "Wow, you're moving too fast. Slow down." And it's true, you know. You watch the older performers; they're all very slow moving, but they're still in control. It's
we're getting lots of specific tips. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. Yes, I agree. Watch your video and
when we're new,
see if you're talking too fast, moving too fast.
Don't learn from my videos because, and I'll tell you why. Because my videos, some of them I'm working on a stage on the ship. I'm working on in a theme park where you have to be fast.
Okay.
If you're too slow, then there's too many other things to be happening. The material I'm using is very basic.
Yes, if you're in a theatre, you can probably go slower. But if you're on the street or in a theme park on the ground,
the speed of how you move can come down to your character, and that's a very, very deep thing I could talk forever about. But
another huge question that we're going to answer in
huge and random
30 seconds. How do you rehearse and practice? Anything specific?
On stage?
Don't tell me. So here's something like from me. I practice generally on stage, so I get a lot of shows. And but there was one point when I had a big enough apartment to put turn one wall into a mirror, so I had a studio. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I do recommend renting a dance studio. If you've got friends that can say, you know, hey, I'll give you an hour or whatever. Do your thing and have a think how you're moving, how you're standing, what your blocking is on stage. I can recommend seeing yourself do that. Or if you don't have mirrors and you don't have that, find a space that you can record your own show. It's as good as seeing it in a mirror. Practice, I practiced and practiced. Yeah, I'm not one to practice in front of mirrors. Practice is absolute key in what we do.
Yeah, I think we're almost done. Okay,
on a practice notes, that's what I always keep coming back saying. Yeah, take notes in your show. Tell you what works. If something random happened in your show, let it work. You know?
Yes.
Like for me, I remember doing
sometimes the best things happen.
A regurgitating ping pong ball routine.
Yeah.
Where I was just using it was just one ping pong ball was coming out, and then I would throw it in the case, and I would throw it in the case. That, because of an accident, developed into a full 5-minute routine where I regurgitated 16 ping pong balls, and they were produced and they were in a bowl on my stage.
Lovely.
So it wasn't just they were there, you know, doing the old routine, you know.
No,
and it was because I took one and I threw it, and it bounced off a card case in my case, and it bounced, and I didn't know, and the kids went nuts.
Fantastic.
So I said, I keep that in the show. Now I'm going to lay something there so that I can throw the ball and it's going to bounce back out on purpose.
Yeah.
But then it even developed further where I had a remote controlled device so I had a thing on my leg that I would just tap it, and this was the remote, and it would throw a ping pong ball out at random.
Oh, that's
stuff
awesome.
Like that. Because kids, they love it when shit happens on stage that wasn't supposed to.
Yeah.
You know? It's the old breakaway one situation.
And talking about kids, I can hear mine arriving. So
I can hear some.
That's my kids arriving. So I'm going to
call
it a day there. Max Marshall, pleasure, real pleasure.
Ben, absolute pleasure to be here. And if you are listening, thank you very much. And if you're interested, add me on Facebook, Max Marshall. And let's spread love.
That's right, buddy. There we go. That's Max Marshall. I'm super busy working at the AAA Carnival, Great European Carnival down on the Hong Kong harbour front. I've got to rush off and do that. More interviews coming up later. I've got Santa, almost a month late. He's on holiday now, but I interviewed Santa in December, so I'll put him up in a minute. All right. Take care, enjoy, and goodbye.